Hey, bitch. Guess who got their live back? I did. Hey, I missed y'all. I really did. It's hard to make news segments as a video and then upload it to the goddamn fucking Facebook. It's hard as hell. So I've been trying it. I got like 30 videos I need to get out to y'all. But listen, let me tell you something. We got a serious fucking issue. Okay, come here. Let me show you something. You see, this story right here where so this black lady was in Tokyo shopping, right? And the Japanese lady called her a nigger. And the lady in the video, she says, I'm not Nigerian. I'm Nigerian and American, but I'm not no nigger. But listen, you can't be Nigerian and American. Either you're an immigrant or not. But don't let her call you no hard R. And the fact that this black lady came in these comments, and she was like, yeah, girl, I don't feel sorry for her, not one bit. We don't do that. We don't do that. I don't condone bashing my own people. I will never, ever bash my own people unless they're a raccoon. Do you understand me? We as melanated people do not go against our own people unless they are on some raccoonery bullshit. But this bitch really did have the nerve to say, and it's the black lady talking about, I don't feel sorry for her, not one bit. Man, I cussed that black lady out so hard. Bitch, are you dumb? Because what we don't do is let another race bash our race. You guys have no honor. You guys have no dignity. And you're not no better than a white man who is literally throwing these slurs around so casually. It is so disgusting to see our own people coincide with racist people to attack our own people. I will never condone it. I will never agree on it. I'm sorry. I can't be that coon. I will never be raccoonery with you. It's sick to me how our own people will go against our own people just to be accepted by other people. The nerve. That's crazy, bitch. The nerve. So, the message is to our people. All skin folk ain't kin folk. And I think she took her thing. Yeah, she did. She took her light down. Anyway, I was just finding it weird how in a situation like this, I'm telling the lady, I was like, look, you can't be Nigerian and American. Either you're an immigrant or not. But don't let her call you no hard R. But a black woman came right behind her. I think her name was Leslie. I got it on this phone. Came right behind her talking about, I don't feel sorry for her, not one bit. Bitch, are you dumb? Why wouldn't you give that lady empathy, sympathy, or respect? Are you stupid? That's the kind of raccoonery I don't like. That's why coon is a term for a reason. Because ain't no way you out here going against your own people. So Leslie, the black lady Leslie, went ahead and erased her. See, I take up for my people. I will never, ever be against my own people. Unless my own people are out here acting like Candace Owens and Leslie. That's another story. That they're often set with the white folks. We separate ourselves from them people. We don't do with coons. It's as simple as that. But never will I ever condone and tomfoolery of my own race. Bitch, are you crazy? I can't stand a black person who hates themselves, who hate their ancestors, and who hate their people. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way You said, as a black woman, you don't feel bad for another black woman being called the hard R. Bitch, please. Self-hate somewhere else. Self-hate somewhere else. I will never understand that shit. Coons do the most. Coons do the fucking most. If you hate yourself, that's fine and well. You need to go deal with that and be by yourself. But if you're trying to get other black folks to hate on other black folks, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Miss me with that bullshit. But anyway, What You Meme News is back. We got a live button back. And it's crazy how everybody that's not non-melanated have been literally going insane with the racism on the internet. It's insane. It's insane. For what reason would you want to call somebody a racial slur? Because of the color of their skin? That's not enough. That's not enough to hate someone. It's not. Now, I will understand if you were in slavery and the white people enslave you, then yeah, you can hate the color of the skin for enslaving your people. That's where racism should come from. But as far as white people hating black people for the color of their skins and them not wanting to be slaves, that's insanity. That's not a valid reason. It's not a valid reason. So at some point, when are we going to stop with the racists? When are we going to stop with the racism? When? Because not a damn pale face is supposed to be here. Not one, not the Chinese, not the Asians, not the Blasians, not the gingers, not one pale face is supposed to be here. That's crazy. That's crazy. I pray one day, and prayers don't work, but I wish and hope one day black folks get up the strength to start knocking y'all motherfuckers out. I swear for God. If you could just take that gentle shit out of our heart and literally start tearing through all these people with all this race, if we literally got some balls to us and start fighting back, they would shut the fuck up with this nigger word. If you start knocking folks the fuck out, they will shut the fuck up. We're such a peaceful nation. We really don't let shit bother us. But if we start knocking motherfuckers out, I promise you, justice will be had. Anyway, this is another edition of What You Meme News. This is why Christianity cannot share the same bloodline with black people, because you got white Christians and you got black Christians. Now, if the entire KKK are all Christians, that means that religion is not for you. And that religion is man-made. When you go ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, who made the Bible? When you go ask artificial intelligence, who made the Bible? Do you know what it's going to say? Do you know what it already said? Let me show you. I gotta update my shit. Hold on. It literally says, right here. Top 50 contradictions of the Bible, which makes it null and void. Creation order. They literally give you contradictions of the Bible contradicting itself. Then not to mention, hold on, let me find it. It literally says the Bible was written by man. The Bible is not the word of God. The Bible is not gospel. It did not come from God. It said one man took a bunch of stories and put it in the Bible. Okay? The Bible is to enslave you, to indoctrinate you, literally. Literally. Okay? Miss me with this shit. So no, you cannot have a white and black Christian if the KKK is a part of your religion. You can't. Okay? You just can't. I don't know why y'all keep misinterpreting and why y'all keep thinking, oh, I'm a Christian, but I'm a white racist. Cannot be. Cannot be. Number one, Christianity belongs to black people because it literally describes black people in the Bible. All the way up and down. Okay? All the way up and down. So the fact that not only did white people hijack North America, they hijacked the Bible, they hijacked Israel. I'm sorry. Christians, you got to stand up and say, hey, you got to go back to your land. You got to go back to your people. You can't say, okay, I'm a Christian and I'm black. Can't say, okay, I'm a Christian and then there's white people in our association. It cannot be. It cannot be. Therefore, nobody is practicing. Here it is. Guess who wrote the Bible? Men, not God. I've checked every AI source and they all say the same. The Bible was not written by one person. It is a collection and library of many books written, edited, preserved, and compiled over centuries by different authors, communities, scribes, prophets, priests, historians, poets, and apostles. Meaning God didn't write the Bible. It's not gospel. It's not. And the fact that the Bible literally says it's okay Exodus 21:20 says anyone who beats their slave is okay. The only way you can be punished if they die as a direct result of you hurting them. Literally. It says the slave is their property. Do you understand why Christianity is a scam? Do you get it now? God didn't write the Bible. The Jews did. And the Jews were the first slave masters who bought you over here. And they didn't even bring you over here. I think only 200 Africans made it off the boat because everybody else drowned and everybody else literally killed themselves. They said, hey, I'm not going to be a slave. I would rather die. That's where you have all the slaves at the bottom of the ocean. I thought so. You see, indigenous people were already here. The only people came on the slaves are the Nordics, the Jews. And they came on a ship called the good ship Jesus. And they bought you Christianity. You understand? So miss me with this shit. Miss me. Artificial intelligence already dismantles the Bible, already crushes the God theory. There is none. There's no Bible. There's no God. You are God. Even in the Bible, God says that you are God. The temple of God resides within you. He didn't say, come worship me. Come follow me. You got a bunch of Jews writing that Bible as a slave instruction manual to tell white men how to get other people to obey. That's it. That's it. But I'm telling you, the first day melanated people get mad and get rid of this Christianity bullshit that's really slavery, woo, everything gonna be right with the world. Everything is gonna be all right with the world. Now, you can't help but to correctly read the Bible right because all you got to do is put it in Chat GPT. When you put the Bible in Chat GPT, they're going to tell you it's man-made. You can put it in all the artificial intelligence you want to. It doesn't come from God. So the fact that you got tricked and enslaved by white folks and Jews, that should be the biggest history of all time. You should be like, oh my God, well, we don't have to keep being slaves anymore. Let's not be oppressed anymore, and let's rise up against. Christianity should be banned, bitch. Christianity should be banned because it's slavery. It's slavery. How the fuck God gonna say, yeah, it's okay for you to get beat? What the fuck you mean it's okay for me to get beat? And then if I die, then my master gets punished? No. No! I don't care how much proof you give black Christians. They will never accept the truth because they are enslaved. They are enslaved. But anyway, I digress. These motherfuckers are not gonna succumb to fucking truth. They like being enslaved. They actually love being enslaved. Literally. Anywho, glad my live button is back on here. I'm so glad my live button is back. But I just thought I'd share that with you. That yes, in fact, the Bible is not. The Bible is just like a Stephen King novel. A white man wrote it. A fictional novel. A white man wrote it. He stole it from the black community, just like he stole your land. It's like, it's just so weird to tell people, like, hey, black folks, all of your shit was stolen from you. At what point do you want to go get it back? Today's the day. Today's the motherfucking day. I just find it weird that nobody lives off truth. Nobody, not one Christian will accept the truth. The Bible has literally 50, I counted 50 just alone. 50 just alone. And I'll even break it down for you. I even took the time to make this case for you. Hold on. The Bible is written in human words by human hands. This is what ChatGPT said. The Bible is written in human words by human hands, and believers call it God's word because they believe God inspired those human writers. So yes, on the physical history side, it is man's words. It is not God's words. You cannot hear from God because God doesn't exist. Do you know where God is found? Within you. You're the God. Boo-boo. God is, he literally tells you God is within you. In with you. So I went out of my way and I found the 50 top contradictions of the Bible, which makes it null and void. Here we go. Number 1, creation order, plants, animals, and humans. Genesis 1 says plants are made before humans, animals before humans, male and female are created together. Genesis 2 says appears to show man formed first, then plants and gardens, then animals, then Romans. The confliction is people seeing that creation sequence seems different. Common defense. Genesis 1 is cosmic overview. Genesis 2 zooms in on Eden and Adam's role. Number 2, did God rest or did God never rest? Genesis 2 says God rested on the 7th day. Isaiah 40:28 said God does not grow tired or weary. Which is it? Is he tired or weary, or does he not need rest? Number 3, can humans see God? Exodus 33:11 says the Lord spoke to Moses face to face. Exodus 33:20 says no one can see God's face and live. John 1:18 says no one has ever seen God. Conflict people see is some verses say people saw God and others say no one can. If it's one contradiction, that means if it's one lie in the story, the whole story is null and void. Do you understand that, people? Number 4, does God change his mind? Numbers 23:19 says God is not a man that he should change his mind. Exodus 32:14 says God relented from disaster after Moses pleaded. Jonah 3:10 says God relented concerning Nineveh. Nineveh. Conflict people see are God does not change his mind, yet appears to change his mind. So what is it? Can God change his mind or cannot God change his mind? It's too many contradictions in the Bible. Number 5, is God peaceful or warlike? Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war. Romans 15:33 calls the God of peace. Well, is he war or peace? Which is it? That means these are not the word of God. These are words of men. These are words of men. Number 6, does God tempt people? In Genesis 22:1, older translation says God tempted Abraham. James 1:13 says God does not tempt anyone. Well, which is it? Which is it? He tempted Job. He tempted Abraham. But James, and then the fact that you got James, Mark, Matt, and Luke, and those are English names. Those are English names. They're not even Hebrew names. So yes, white men, Jewish men wrote that fucking book to enslave humanity. Number 7, who incited David to take the census? 2 Samuel 24:1 says the anger of the Lord incited David to number Israel. 1 Chronicles 21:1 says Satan stood against Israel and incited David. Well, who was it? Was it God or Satan? They keep telling lies. Number 8, how many fighting men did Israel and Judah have? 2 Samuel 24 says Israel had 800,000 valiant men and Judah had 500,000. Well, you come over to 1 Chronicles 21 says Israel had 1.1 million men and Judah had 470,000 men. Now, we all know that's a lie within itself because back then, wasn't nobody going to be able to count that many men that high. Be for fucking real. We don't even count that many people that high today. We have to do a census. We have to take up statistics. Number 9, how did Judas die? Matthew 27:5 says Judas hanged himself. Acts 1:18 says he fell headlong, burst open, his intestines spilled out. Well, what is it? Did he get hanged or did his intestines bust out? What the fuck is it? Critics say the texts tell different traditions. Number 10, who bought the field connected to Judas? Matthew 27 says the priestess bought the potter's field with Judas returned silver. Acts 1:18 said Judas acquired a field with the reward of wickedness. Well, which is it? Did the priest buy it or did Judas buy it? Contradictions. It's too many contradictions in this fucking book to say it's gospel. I don't understand with you guys. How do you not see the Bible is full of falsities? When did Jesus cleanse the temple? Now remember, this one key context clue. God said, you will not find me in no man-made temples. So the fact that the Jews created a temple for you to come do idolatry, to come worship and drop off your money, that's insanity and that's scamming. That's insanity and that's scamming. But John 2:13-16 places Jesus cleaning the temple near the beginning of his ministry. Matthew 21, Mark 11, and Luke 19 places it near the end. You see the different timing? Jesus cleansed the temple twice, or John arranged material theology rather than chronologically. That's a problem. What day was Jesus crucified? Now, this is the big one. This is the big one. The Bible is so fucked up. The Bible is so fucked up. 4 different stories. Synoptic Gospels appear to present the Last Supper as a Passover meal. But in John 19:14, it appears to place Jesus' trial before the Passover meal timing. Which is it? Different Jewish calendar reckonings, different meanings of Passover or theological framing. You understand? Let's keep going. What were Jesus' last words? Well, it's so funny. If Matthew, Luke, John, and all of them was there, why are them 3 giving 3 different accounts? Matthew said that Jesus' last words were, my God, why have you forsaken me? Luke said Jesus' last words were, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. John said Jesus' last words was, it was finished. Which one is it? Throw the whole Bible away. Throw it away. Who went to Jesus' tomb? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John said 4 different people. Matthew said Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went. Mark said Mary Magdalene, the other Mary, James, and Salome went. Luke said Mary went, Joanna went, and Mary went, and then another woman. And then John said only Mary Magdalene. So nobody can get their story straight. Nobody can get their story straight, but you still call it gospel. Fuck out of my face. Anyway, how many angels were at the tomb? Matthew said 1. Mark said 1 young man in white. He didn't even say an angel. Luke said 2 men in a dazzling clothing. John said 2 angels. Well, is it 1 angel or is it a man? Why is everybody's stories different? And why did the Jews add the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, white folks, into a Negro illustrated Bible? Matthew, Mark, Luke, those are English names. Those are, bro. Where did Jesus first appear after resurrection? Here we go again with the white folks who can't even survive the sun in America, let alone in the Middle East. Literally said, Matthew said, women met Jesus, then disciples are directed to Galilee. Luke said appearances focus around Jerusalem, nearby Emmaus. Well, hold on. Now we got Jerusalem. Now we got Emmaus. Now we got Galilee. That's 3 different places. Then John said he appeared in Jerusalem and then later in Galilee. Well, which one is it? You got 3 different places here. Once again, white folks lying. All right, moving on. Did the disciples stay in Jerusalem or go to Galilee? Once again, you got white folks chiming in on black folks' business. Matthew said the 11 went to Galilee. Luke said they were told to stay in Jerusalem. Different points in the 40-day post-resurrection period. Who carried Jesus' cross? Once again, here come white folks and black folks' business. John 19:17 says Jesus carried his cross. Matthew 27, Mark 15, and Luke said Simon of Cyrene carried it. But if it was Jesus' cross to bear, who carried it? Who carried it? You are a fool to think that the people who persecuted Jesus will let a bystander come in and say, hey, man, this cross is really big. Let me help you out. That's like saying an innocent citizen going to tell a prisoner, hey, man, you got a lot of time. Let me do a few years for you. It don't work. It don't fly. Number 19, did both criminals insult Jesus or only one? Oh, here we go. White folks once again. Matthew, Mark, hold on, and just so we sure. Let's ask ChatGPT, where does the name Matthew originate? Greek, Latin, English, Hebrew. Is Johannes. Still not ye. There's no J's in Hebrew. There are no J's in fuck. Are you for bro? Anyway. Did both criminals insult Jesus or only one? Matthew Mark says robbers crucified him and mocked him. Luke says one criminal mocked him while other defended him. Now, if Matthew, Mark, and Luke are all watching this, whose account is it? Whose? Everybody, that's like saying if we're all there at one event, say if we're at a Donald Trump rally, and we say Donald Trump had a guest of Kid Rock and J.D. Vance. Who the fuck would say Snoop Dogg was there too? When we know if it was a MAGA event, who's going to be at the MAGA event? Well, Kid Rock, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump. Why would you say somebody else is there? Unless you were not there. Unless you were not there. So why are people who's supposed to be there not giving the same accounts? Because when a police officer say, hey, did you see that guy shoot that guy? If everybody's story matches, they're going to say, hey, everybody's story matches and yours do not. Okay? That's how crimes are solved. When they go to people and say, who did this crime? And you know how everybody say, okay, well, he did it. And everybody can point to the one person that was there. If somebody who was not there cannot give an account of the crime, if everybody's story does not match. So why does everybody's story does not match? That's weird. So conflict people see is both got mocked. One was repentant. Both may have been mocked at first and then one changed. Did Jesus tell the disciples to take a staff? Mark says Jesus told them to take nothing except a staff. Matthew and Luke says, say not to take a staff. Conflict people see is take a staff versus do not take a staff. Could mean do not acquire extra staff. Mark allows the one already in hand. Salvation by faith or works. Romans 3:28 says a person is justified by faith apart from works of the law. James 2:24 says a person is justified by works and not by faith alone. Which is it? Is it faith alone or does it work? Okay, let me tell you why this one is the big one. You can have faith all day, but if you don't work to get it, it's not going to happen. Yeah, you can have faith to win the lottery all day, but if you don't know the combination to the numbers they drop, you're not going to win. Can you imagine all the Christians, especially the black folks who play the lottery and the faith they have in winning the lottery? Prime example. How many black folks you know play the lottery and they got faith they gonna win that big ticket and they never end up winning that big ticket? If you don't know what numbers are gonna fall, you can't win. Got it? So if you don't work to go and get, and then you can't play the lottery because it's rigged. So if you don't know what numbers are gonna drop, you're not gonna win that shit. So you gotta do the work. If you don't get up and go to work every day, your bills will not get paid. Why do you think Christians got to have a job? Because if it was working off their faith alone, they wouldn't need a job, right? God would say, hey, sit down, Christian. You ain't got to go to work. You remember, your faith has paid your bills. Number 22, should people answer fools? Proverbs 26:4 says, do not answer a fool according to his folly. And then Proverbs 26 turns around and says, answer a fool according to his folly. That's in the same book. That's the same book. Not even one verse. That's 26 and 4. 26 and 4 and 26 and 8. That's like right there beside each other. The contradiction is crazy. Hold on, let me go back. Yeah, the fact that it's right there in the same spot. Yeah, Proverbs 26 and 4. And then, hold on, that's the paragraph right above it. And then this paragraph below it. That's a contradiction right there in your face. Same chapter, same verse. Which is it? Common defense is wisdom literature gives situational principles, not universal rules. Sometimes answering makes you foolish, and sometimes silence lets foolishness stand. 23, was Jesus equal with God or less than God? John 10:30 says, I and the Father are one. And then John 14:28 says, the Father is greater than I. Conflict people see is equality versus subordination. Trinitarian theology says Jesus is equal in divine nature, but humble, subordinate in earthly roles. Number 24, does God punish children for parents' sins? Exodus 20 says God visits the iniquity of fathers upon children to the third and fourth generation. Ezekiel 18:20 says the son shall not bear the guilt of the father. Well, which is it? Which is it? Number 25, are we judged by works or not? Romans 4:5 says faith is counted as righteous apart from works. Revelations 20:12 says the dead are judged according to their works. Matthew 16:27 says the Son of Man will repay each person according to what they have done. It is so many contradictions in this book to the point where artificial intelligence said, hey, this book is not written by God, it's written by men. Okay? And I'm just tired of everybody fighting over it every goddamn day. Stop acting like it's gospel. It's not gospel. It's just a fictional book of stories. None of these stories are true. None of the same shit that Stephen King writes is the same way these men wrote this book. Fictional doctrines that they want to live by, which there's nothing wrong. And if you think about it, they're literally operating off the rules of Mayat, off the laws of Mayat. Well, do not do wrong against somebody. Do not lie against somebody. Do not hold hate in your heart. I mean, it's basic human living 101. Okay. Number 26, is wealth a blessing or a danger? Well, Proverbs 10 says, blessing the Lord makes you rich. Matthew 19:24. One second. All right. Okay. So is wealth a blessing or a danger? Proverbs 10 says, blessings of the Lord makes you rich. Matthew 19 says, it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. So which one is it? Luke 6 says, woe to the rich. Somebody is lying. Somebody is lying. One story says, the blessing of the Lord makes you rich. Matthew says, it's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. I wonder, do rich people know that? Then Luke 6 says, woe to the rich. So let me guess, all the rich people know that they're going to hell. So that's why they're creating hell on earth, because they'll never get a heaven on earth. That's insane. Number 27, should Christians obey government or resist corrupt rulers? Now, this is where the likes of humankind come in. There was no government. God didn't create no government. Man did. The etymology of the word government means to control. Okay? Romans 13, 1 through 7 says, be subject to governing authorities. Acts 5:29 says we must obey God rather than man. Revelations 13 portrays beastly empires as evil and deceptive. Now, is it obey the government versus resist the government? God is telling you to resist the government, which that's a lie, because government was not even created back then. All they had was emperors, rulers, and emperors. Okay? So the fact that white folks, the Jews, wrote this shit in this slave manual is evident. The evidence is evident. Okay? Number 28, is killing forbidden or commanded? Exodus 20:13 says you shall not kill and murder. Deuteronomy, Joshua, and other war texts contain commands to destroy enemies. Conflict people see no killing versus divinely commanded killing. Which one is it? Which one is it? Can we kill or can we not? Number 29, is God loving or wrathful? John 4:8 says God is love. Hebrews 10:31 says it's fearful to fall into the hands of the living. Nahum 1:2 says the Lord takes vengeance. Now, is he a loving God or a vengeful God? Because God himself said, I am a vengeful God and I'm a jealous God, which makes him human, because gods or deities they're not human. That's why they're called divinity. That's why they're divine entities. So God is not divine. That would make him human if he's wrathful and jealous. Okay? Number 30, did Jesus bring peace or a sword? Luke 2 says he spoke peace. John 14 said Jesus gives peace. Matthew says Jesus did not come to bring peace, but he came to fight. Why is nobody's story on one accord? Why? Why does nobody's story line up? And the fact that everybody's story is not on one accord is the reason why the book should have never been created. 31 says John the Baptist Elijah. Was John the Baptist Elijah? Matthew 11 says John is Elijah. John denied being Elijah. So John himself, in the book John wrote, said, guess what? I'm not Elijah. So Matthew is lying about John being Elijah. See, goddamn, that's... The fucking fact that John, who wrote his own book, said, hey, John denied being Elijah. This don't even make sense. John wrote the book and said he is not Elijah. Matthew said John is Elijah. Who are you going to believe? John, who wrote his own book saying John denied being Elijah? Or Matthew said, no, John, it's you. It's you. Number 32. Did Jesus say yes to public miracles or keep them secret? Matthew says, let your light shine before others. And Mark says, Jesus telling a healed man to say nothing to anyone. Well, which is it? The conflict that people are seeing is revealing the works versus concealing the works. Which is it, guys? Somebody is lying on Jesus. Is what I'm trying to show you. Somebody is lying on every deity in this book. Number 33, genealogy of Jesus. Matthew versus Luke. Matthew said Jesus traced Jesus' genealogy through Solomon. Luke 3 traces it through Nathan. The names and structures differ significantly. Conflict people see is two different family lines. This is the first time I've ever heard of that. Who the fuck is a Nathan? Who the fuck is a Nathan? Really? Who? Bro. You're telling me that Luke said Jesus came through Nathan's bloodline? Bitch, this is new. This is new to me. Hold on. Matthew 1 says, trace Jesus' genealogy through Solomon. Luke 3 says, no, trace it through Nathan. The names and structures differ significantly. It's two different family lines. Matthew gives Joseph's legal royal line, and Luke may give Mary's biological line or another branch of Joseph's ancestry. And see, this is the problem we have with this bullshit. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the problem we have with this bullshit. If Jesus was the son of God, and Jesus came from God's nutsack, Luke, how the fuck are you going to trace God's genealogy? That's another goddamn contradiction in itself. Bro, hold on. You mean the child in the manger, daddy is supposed to be God. Where the fuck Luke get Nathan from? You can't use Mary's bloodline because that's Mary. We know who the mama is. We don't know who the daddy is. You see what I mean? So who the fuck is Nathan? Who the fuck is Nathan? Anyway, listen. I told you this Bible gets crazier and crazier. 34, who is Joseph's father? All right, here we go. Just like I was saying, the genealogy of this bloodline is horrendous. Matthew 1 says Jacob was Joseph's father. Luke 3 says Joseph was of Heli. Jacob versus Heli. One may be a legal father-in-law. The other biological father of or one line is Mary. There's so many contradictions in this book. How many animals went into Noah's Ark? This is a big one. You guys should recognize this one. In Genesis 6:19, it says 2 of every kind. But in Genesis 7:2-3, which is still in the same chapter, says 7 pairs of clean animals and 1 pair of unclean animals. Bitch, what? And Genesis had one author. The author of Genesis had one job, and they fucked it up next subparagraph. Genesis 6 says 2 of every kind. And then Genesis 7 says 7 pairs of clean animals and 1 pair of unclean animals. So that means 8 pairs. Bitch, get the story right. Please get the story right. Then here's another thing. You wouldn't have enough room on the boat for 8 pairs of animals. I could see 2 pairs of every animal. But could you imagine 8 pairs of every animal on the boat? But you couldn't fit humans on the boat. But you took 8 pairs of every animal. Bitch, the math is not mathing. The math is not math. Oh my God. Then they pretended like they did find Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is not big enough for no goddamn body. Nobody's farm, nobody's people, nobody's nothing. Be for real. These are literally Hebrew lies. Okay, let's keep going. How long did the flood last? People point to different flood numbers. And this is all in, see, Genesis is so fucked up. Genesis literally lies so damn much. We can't even get out of Genesis before it starts to lie again. How long did the flood last? Genesis 7 said they rained for 40 days, 40 nights. Genesis 7:24 said the waters prevailed for 150 days. Genesis 8:14 said earth dried later after many months. Bitch, which was it? Was it 40 days, 150 days, or was it a year? Which one was it? Huh? Okay. Number 37, the earth was created before the sun. This is the craziest lie I've seen by far. Genesis 1 has earth formed before the sun, moon, and stars are appointed on a day 4. Modern cosmology says stars predate earth by billions of years. Well, Scientology for the win. Science for the win. If the stars predates everything, how can you just now come to create the stars in Genesis 1? Earth has formed before the sun, the moon, and the stars are appointed on day 4. And modern cosmology says stars predate Earth by billions and billions of years. Non-literal reading, day-age theory, framework interpretation, or lights became visible argument. Somebody lying. They literally said, well, this is how I think God created the heavens and earth. That's what the Jew master did. He said, well, this is my interpretation of how the earth was formed. Just like Darwinism. When they said, hey, this is how I think Black people were put together. Black people were put together by monkeys. No, the fuck they wasn't. Please stop. Please stop. And the fact that black people were on earth before white people ever came. Oh my God. Please stop. It's just lie after lie after lie after lie. 39. Does prayer always work? Matthew says, ask and it will be given. John says, ask in Jesus' name and he will do it. James 4:3 says, people ask and do not receive because they ask wrongly. Did you know that prayers do not work? Because no matter how many times you say it with your word, supposedly, if it's not convicted in your spirit, you won't get it. 2 Corinthians shows Paul pleading for removal of his thorn, but God said no. Which is it? Which is it? Because the Bible literally states, if you don't ask right, God ain't going to give it to you. Well, that's weird. I got to beg and say pretty please with sugar on top? Number 40. Is the law eternal or abolished? Matthew says Jesus did not come to abolish law. Ephesians says Christ abolished the law of commandments expressed in ordinance. Romans says believers are not under law, but under grace. Which is it? moral law fulfilled and upheld, or ceremonial legal covenant obligations fulfilled in Christ. Number 41, should believers judge others? Matthew 7 says, judge not. So every time you hear a Christian judging you for not being a Christian, it's literally them sinning. Do you know how many Christians condemn you to hell? Why are you condemning people to hell when, number one, God said we have free will? And then how are you condemning people to hell when Matthew 7:1 says, judge not? John 7:24 says, judge with righteous judgment. And then 1 Corinthians says the church judges those inside. Which one is it? To judge or not to judge? Anyway. Number 42, did Jesus ascend the same day or later? Well, Luke 24 says, can sound like Jesus ascended the same day as the resurrection. Acts 1:3 says Jesus appeared over 40 days before ascending. Well, did he ascend? This is why Easter is a scam. Because when they say he rose again, that's a lie. The Bible said he rose 40 days later. Which one is it? Did he rise after the third day? Or is it like Acts 1:3 said, Jesus appeared over 40 days before he was ascended to earth? Which one is it? Easter is a lie. Resurrection. And he did not come back to life. It literally said his soul was zapped up. He ascended. He literally gained Christ consciousness, like I've been trying to teach y'all, and ascended to heaven. But you can't ascend to heaven after you're dead. So we all know that's a lie. We all know that if you don't get oxygen to the brain within 30 minutes after doing CPR, you cannot be resurrected. You're technically brain dead after 30 minutes. So does humanity want to lie again? Because once you're dead, you cannot be brought back. So the fact that Jesus lay there dead for 3 days and somebody said, oh, we resurrected him after him having no oxygen going to his brain for 3 days is literally human impossible. It's humanly impossible. You cannot be dead for 3 days and then somebody come do resuscitation and bring you back. Completely impossible. So that's a lie within itself. Because we all humans know that that's like saying my mama in the ground dead, but if I wait 40 days, she's going to rise again. It's another lie. It's not the truth. That's not how the human body works. And Jesus was in human form. That's how you know you can debunk that straight the fuck up. If Jesus was down here acting like a human, being like a human, and he died, you can't bring him back 3 days later with no oxygen going to his brain. You are clinically dead 30 minutes after not receiving oxygen to the brain. So this one big old resurrection story, I just blew it out the goddamn water. Because the human body cannot survive without oxygen going to his brain 30 minutes after you collapse. If that was the case, we would be digging up people every day. Everybody would be getting up and saying, who resurrected me? Who literally brought me back? You cannot do it. You cannot do it. All right, what's the next one? Did Paul's companions hear the voice? Acts 9:7 says Paul's companions heard the voice. Turn around in the same chapter, Acts 22 says they did not hear and understand the voice. What? You mean in the same chapter? Look. From 9 to 22. That means that author in that same chapter is still lying. The author is lying in the story. Okay? The conflict people see here is either he heard it or he did not hear it. You understand? Which is the lie? The whole lie is right there, so close to each other. You can tell this book was human made. It's man made. It's too many contradictions. All right. Next. Did Paul go to Jerusalem immediately after the conversation? Remember, this is the same lion ass chapter. Acts 9. Sounds like Paul goes to Jerusalem fairly soon after Damascus. Galatians 1:17 and 18 says he did not immediately go to Jerusalem, but went to Arabia, then returned to Damascus, and then after 3 years went by, he went to Jerusalem. You want to throw the whole Acts chapter out. It's bullshit. Who killed Goliath? This is a famous story you should know very well. 1 Samuel 17 says David killed Goliath. But come to 2 Samuel and it says Elhanan killed Goliath. Then you go to 1 Chronicles and it says Elhanan killed Lahami, brother of Goliath. Number one, who the fuck is Elhanan? Because we've never heard of no Elhanan. And why have they been telling the story that David killed Goliath when 2 accounts said it was Elhanan? Could it be the Jews literally erasing history again? Telling lies again? Yes, it is. Moving on, we have how old was Ahaziah when he became king? 2 Kings and 2 Kings says Ahaziah was 22. 2 Chronicles said in some manuscripts, translations, he was 42. Which is it? That age gap, that's a 22-year age gap. Impossible. How many stalls did Solomon have? 1 Kings said Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses. 40,000 stalls of horses. Oh my God, back then that would be impossible. Back then that was impossible. 2 Chronicles said 4,000 stalls. What did I just say that was impossible? You see that? 40,000 versus 4,000. 4,000 would be more malleable. 4,000 would be more, okay, realistic. Realistic. You got to remember, these fools have no count. They have no recollection of time. They have no recollection of measurements, cubits, and all of that shit. Remember, they were measuring Noah's Ark by cubits. So their math and our math is insane. We don't really know. All right. All right. How many baths did Solomon see hold? 1 Kings says 2,000 baths. 2 Chronicles said 3,000 baths. Conflict, people are saying different capacities. Like I said again, these numbers are ridiculous. These numbers are ridiculous. Number one, we all know they didn't take a bath like that like they did back in the day. Okay? So the numbers are ridiculous. Number 49, did Michal have children? 2 Samuel says Michal had no children to the day of her death. Michal had no child to the day of her death. Same chapter, few verses later says, in some translations, Michal had 5 sons. Well, did she have children or did she not have children? This is like somebody lying to you. It's like your man coming home saying, did you cheat with that woman? I may have had sex with her. I may have not had sex with her. Well, did you or did you not? You cannot have contradictions. If we was in a friendship together, hey, well, are you my friend or not? I may be your friend or I may not be your friend. No, bitch, that's not gonna fly. Either it's the truth or it's not the truth. If it's a little bit of the truth, it's not the truth. If 100% truth, then it's all of the truth. You can't accept half of the truth. Do you think police officers and judges would accept half of your truth? If you did half of the truth, that would be omitting lies from your story. Do you understand? There you go. Number 50 coming in hot and heavy. How many sons did Abraham have? Genesis emphasizes Isaac as Abraham's promised son. And then Genesis 25 says Abraham later had more sons through Keturah. Hebrews 11:17 called Isaac Abraham's only begotten son. So what is it? Who's his son? How many sons did he have? Did he have one? Did he have many? Which is it? Which is it? It's so many lies in his book that it cannot be gospel. And if artificial intelligence is telling you, hey, that Bible is written by man, not God, that should let you know this world has been controlled since the beginning of time. Bottom line, a lot of Bible contradictions fall into the 4 buckets. Real textual number issues, the census counts, the king's ages, the capacities. There are often copied and manuscript problems, different perspectives, resurrection accounts, tomb witnesses, Jesus' words, chronology, theological tension, faith versus works, justice versus mercy, obey government versus obey God. You cannot worship God and worship the government at the same time. Which is it? Which is it going to be? He told you not to worship no one. No, he said no idol worship. And the fact that you fools went out and said, we're going to get the government to control us, and then we're going to have a president. You're not even supposed to have a president. You're not supposed to have a VP. You're not even supposed to have a pastor. You're not even supposed to have a preacher. You're not supposed to have any of those things. But yet, here we are. You obeying the government instead of you obeying God. Which God is not a person, but the conscious energy that resides within you. So basically, it's Hebrew narrative. Often compress events, repeat the themes, and arranges stories by meaning more than modern timeline precision. So artificial intelligence literally tells us that the Bible is a book written by men with fabled accounts. And I hope this helps you out. Okay? I hope this helps you out. Stop taking it. It did not come from God. Actually, no one has heard from God. When you put it in ChatGPT, ChatGPT will tell you, number 1, God is not a person. God is conscious energy. Number 2, ChatGPT and artificial intelligence will tell you that no, there's not one man in the sky who is a God. We're all being fooled. And this is a slave manual for how to control the masses. And y'all eat that shit up. Y'all eat that shit up. It's like having a cookbook from 1956. Why the fuck will we be eating Jell-O cake in 2026? Times have changed. What they were doing back in 1956 doesn't fit us in 2026. The fact that they were sleeping. Hold on, watch this. All right. It's so much incest in the Bible, it's disgusting. Okay? Lot and his daughters. Abraham and Sarah. Sarah is Abraham's half sister. Incest is illegal. Incest is illegal. And don't give me that bullshit of, oh, there wasn't enough humans back then. Yes, the fuck it was. Yes, the fact that Cain went to another town and had sex. Oh, hold on. After Cain killed his brother Abel, God punished him by making him a restless wanderer. Cain was afraid someone would kill him, so God placed a mark inside. Oh, skirt! Adam and Eve was not the only people on the goddamn planet, because how did Cain said, I'm afraid someone would kill me? God placed a mark on Cain's head and told him, can't nobody touch you. Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. He built a city named Enoch after his son. This book lied to you. Adam and Eve was not the only people on the fucking earth. And the fact that he went to Nod, the next town over, and there were a shitload of people there, and he had a wife, and he had a baby, bitch, miss me with that shit. This book is put together by Jews who want to control you. End of story. End of story. Another contradiction right here. How can humanity only start with Adam and Eve if, guess what? Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain found a wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. You see what I mean by it's so much left out? Where's the story of Nod? Why are they not telling us about the people of Nod? Oh, you think we're just going to ignore the fact that Cain said, hey, God, what if somebody tries to hurt me? You see why the story ain't adding up? Do you see why the Bible is fiction? This Bible is hardcore fiction. Hardcore fiction that literally contradicts itself. And you can't even argue with me about it. Listen here, you don't need no pastor. What's worse is to get a human to translate the Bible for you. That's the worst thing you could do. Humans are illiterate. 98% of the globe is illiterate because nobody taught them, number one, how to read, and number two, how to comprehend what they are reading. So when we actually run it through the machine, guess what the machine catch? All the errors that humans have made. So now you're going to tell me that the story of Genesis is correct? No, the fuck it ain't. How can the story of Genesis be correct when it literally says 2 of every animal? Skip over to the next paragraph and it says 8 pairs of every animal. If Adam and Eve are the only people on this world and they only birthed Cain and Abel, why does the town of Nod exist? And how was Cain able to go find, mind you, his mom and daddy had 2 boys, so it wasn't no females around. Do you see where I'm going with this? If that was the case, Cain would have literally laid down with his mama. If there were no other people on earth besides Adam and Eve, who had Cain and Abel, why was Cain able to go next door and find a wife? Yeah, I thought so. Cain leaves Eden. The basic story is Cain leaves Eden's area, goes to the land of Nod, finds a wife, and she has a son and named him Enoch. Cain builds a city named after Enoch. Next part, we're going to ask, where did Cain's wife come from? The Bible does not give her name or give her backstory. Well, that's funny. Why wouldn't the Bible tell us who Cain's wife is if they actually knew? It's lies, you guys. It's always have been lies. Traditional explanations usually say she was likely one of Adam and Eve's daughters or a close relative. Because Genesis 5 says Adam had other sons and other daughters. So whoa. Adam is a baby daddy who has several baby mamas. Hold on. What'd you say, CG? What'd you say, Chat GPT? I call Chat GPT CG. Say that again, CG. CG said the Bible does not name her or give her backstory. Traditional explanations usually say she was likely one of Adam and Eve's daughters or a close relative. Well, who were the relatives of Adam and Eve? Let's ask ChatGPT. In the Bible's Genesis family line, Adam and Eve are presented as the first human couple. So do you see how I just caught the Bible in a lie? The Bible does not name her or give her a backstory. Traditionally, explanations usually say she was likely one of Adam and Eve's daughters or close relatives. Do you not see the goddamn contradiction? Well, when you ask the Bible, when you ask ChatGPT, when you ask all of the information in the world, who was Adam and Eve's relatives, guess what they're going to tell you? Watch this, and you got to trick artificial intelligence. You are right. You are right to pause on that, Chris. That wording can sound like contradiction. Yeah, I know I'm right. I'm always right. Do you know ChatGPT literally said, Crystal, you are so fucking smart and you are so fucking right that everything you ask me, you get it right the first fucking time? You don't need a preacher or an evangelist to tell you that Bible is not from God, but from man, and it has too many contradictions in it. Okay? Now, in the Bible, Adam and Eve are presented as the first human couple, so their relatives are mainly their children. How did Cain go to a next town? Listen to me well. How did Cain meet another woman in Nod if him, his brother, his mama, and his daddy are the only people there? Yeah, I thought so. You're welcome. You are fucking welcome. You are welcome. And then it says Adam had more children. How can Adam have more children if him and Eve are the only people there? This story is full of holes. You're not wrong for seeing the holes. See, that's the problem. That creates incest immediately. What did I just tell you? Cain would have to have sex with Eve in order to have a baby. If Adam and Eve are the only two people on the planet, Cain can't go to Nod, meet with another woman, and have Enoch. This shit is lies. ChatGPT literally says those children married each other or later close relatives. There can't be any relatives if it's only 4 people on the earth. If it's only 4 people on the earth, where did Cain get his wife from? Who laid down with Cain? Then, when Cain went to God and says, if I go to another town, someone will kill me. And you're telling me this bullshit story that God marked Cain to where he couldn't be killed by someone else, but it's only 4 people in the entire planet? My honest take, as a strict literal history, Genesis 4 has major gaps. As a spiritual origin story about murder, exile, guilt, survival, and civilization, and it makes more sense. But if someone tells you the Cain wife problem is perfectly clean, they are smoothing over what the text actually does not say. Meaning, they're lying. They lied to you. Okay? 1 second, let me get some paper. Y'all ain't using artificial intelligence right like me, baby. Let me tell you something. Adam, Eve are supposed to be the only 2 people on the planet. Adam and Eve had 2 sons, Cain, Abel. In order for Cain and Abel to reproduce, they would actually have to have sex with who? Eve. But the story literally says Cain goes to Nod, met a woman, and had Enoch. What woman? If there are 4 people on earth, what other woman? And if the Bible said Adam had a bunch of kids by a bunch of baby mamas before Eve, okay? Come look at this bullshit. After Cain killed his brother Abel, God punished him by making him a restless wanderer. Cain was afraid someone would kill him. So God placed a mark and a sign on Cain as protection. Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So he went to the east. Cain found a wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. That's a problem. That is a very big problem, because why wouldn't the Bible give you Cain's wife name? It's so many holes in this Bible. You don't need a preacher. You don't need an evangelist. You don't need an apostle. You don't need a disciple. You don't need nobody but some good research and paper and pencil and spiritual discernment and cognitive dissonance. Because when you start reading the story and you start asking questions, you got to ask the right questions. Well, if Adam and Eve are supposed to be the only people on the planet, how in the fuck? It says Adam and Eve are presented as the first human couple, so their relatives are mainly their children. It's their children. That's why Cain's wife is such a big question. The text implies that there were other sons and daughters of Adam and Eve, but it does not name them. How? Did Cain sleep with Eve? Why didn't the Bible put that in there? Who? And then look, this ratio, you got 3 men to 1 bitch, right? 3 men to 1 bitch. That means she would literally be the mother of all creation. That's crazy. Did the Bible forget to exclude that? Or did they forget to hey, oh, you thought we wouldn't go ask? But then for the Bible to go ahead and say, guess what? For the Bible to say, Genesis 5:4 says Adam had other sons and daughters. So who was Adam's baby mama before Eve? Who? You got to throw this book away. It's a book of fiction. It is a book of fiction. We can't even get past the first chapter without finding all of these holes. Okay? And the fact that ChatGPT is yeah, girl, you're not wrong. You see what I mean? I'm so tired of y'all coming against me because of what you've been indoctrinated with. It's called indoctrination. It doesn't even spiritually sound right. I have discernment. I have spiritual discernment. And when you start talking the Bible to me, it's not, my discernment says, that ain't right. My cognitive dissonance says, oh, somebody's lying. Now, all of a sudden, Eve is a baby mama Eve and Adam didn't even get married, and Adam have other children out of wedlock, so there's bastards all around here? What? Why didn't we hear about the other women? Does Eve have another baby daddy? Because these stories are not adding up. Genesis does not explain the population problem cleanly. You cannot regard it as gospel. Okay? You cannot. In the story, Adam and Eve can have more children because they are the only they're the only starting couple in the narrative. They're the only couple in the narrative. So that would mean Cain has to have sex with his mama. Abel has to have sex with mama. But since Abel is dead, right? Cain kills Abel. How the fuck? These two can't even have... What? That would mean Cain is the only descendant of Adam and Eve. Okay, so now Adam and Eve start having more children. They start, okay. Well, and then here's the thing. They would literally be too old to have more children if these two grown-ass men were full adults. So that's another lie within itself. Okay? If Cain and Abel are fully grown men, say, I guess around the age of 30, say if they're in their 30s, because that's what it sounds like. That means Adam and Eve would be too old to start over. So cut the bullshit. At what age does Eve start menopause? At what age did her eggs give out? Because somebody is lying. Somebody is lying. So let's go back and look at all the kids Adam and Eve had. All right. In the Bible, Genesis family line, Adam and Eve are presented as the first human couple. So their relatives are mainly their children. I just can't move past this line, because how can Cain go to Nod and find a wife who's not related to him if he's not having sex with his mama? You want Bible study? Oh, I'll do Bible study all goddamn day, all goddamn night, and I will literally debunk that whole entire thing. I'll Bible study with you all day. You know why? Because it's wrong. It's wrong. It's too many holes in the fucking story. But let's get to it. The relatives specifically named are children of Adam and Eve: Cain, Abel, Seth, and other sons and daughters. Not named, but Genesis 5:4 says Adam had more children. Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem. Who are the children of Adam and Eve? You only named 3. That's like saying, Crystal, how many kids you got? I can't name you the 2 that I like, and I can't name you the other 4 that I don't like. It would be like good parent, bad parent shit. You just can't. You got to love all of your children. You got to tell us all of your kids. It's like going to a school saying, hey, I want to enroll 2 of my kids in school, but I don't want to enroll the other 5 kids because I don't want you knowing that I have more than 5 kids. You can't do it. Either put it in the history or don't put it at all. Or either somebody was lying. The story has holes. Where are the other kids at? Who are the other kids? The Bible is leaving out crucial information that we need. Okay. So we got Cain, Abel, Seth. Cain, Abel, Seth. Abel is dead. So now we got Cain and Seth. Seth would have to literally sleep with Eve. You see where I'm going with this? So Eve would literally be the creator of Eve. Oh my God. That would mean everybody is related. That would literally mean everybody is related. But the fact that you're telling me that Cain literally went over to another city and there was people there. Do you not see where I'm going with this? So we got mystery woman. Mystery woman. Cain was first son. He killed Abel. Abel was the second son, murdered by Cain. Seth was the son born after Abel's death. Do you know, number one, how old was Cain when Abel was born? It's so many questions. You see what I mean? It's so many questions, and the Bible cannot theoretically or theologically give you these answers. That's why the story is corroborated. The story is conjured up because Cain and Abel are full-grown men, 30-year-old men at this point. And you're telling me Eve in her old ass age, because she had to be over, let's see, the earliest you can get your period is maybe 10 years old. But by the time they're telling us about Adam and Eve, she's a full-grown woman. And they're talking about this lady and this man like they're full-grown women. Cain and Abel are out here in the fields acting up like full-grown men. So for her to start over, let's see, her children had to be 30 years old. So you're telling me she got pregnant at 30, let's say? Yeah, because they live full-grown lives. These are full-grown men here. So you're telling me she literally went and had a baby in her 40s, and 50s, and 60s? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way. No way. And we can literally pull up everyone's history of like, hey, how many women over 60 done had a baby? Or how many women over 40? I think I know Shy Mosley. She recently had a baby in her 50s. And I think one other lady who's now 65 had a baby in her 60s. But how many women do you see having babies in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s? How many 80-year-old women do you know that are pregnant having babies? Let's think logically. How many 80-year-old women do you know who are still having children? So this Bible is lying, because we know how humans can birth babies. This timeline is horrible. The chronological timeline is off. Okay. They had other sons and daughters, not named, but Genesis 5:4 says Adam had more children before he got to Eve. Woo! All right. So when we go to Cain's wife, unnamed, traditionally understood as one of Adam and Eve's daughters or female descendants. So you're telling me Adam and Eve sent one of their daughters to the town of Nod? That's a goddamn lie. The story doesn't make sense, but let's keep reading. Then he had Enoch, Irad, Mahujahal, Methuselah, Lamech, Jubal, Tubal, Cain, and Naamah, and children connected to Lamech's line. Seth's line is so funny, nobody knows who birthed these babies. Nobody knows who birthed these babies, but we know who the daddies are. That's a problem. That's misogyny. That is misogyny. That is patriarchal. That is actually, that's femicide. Where they literally throw all the women away. That's femicide. And then don't forget, the Bible says that women cannot teach the word of God. So that's already letting us know that Jewish white men of the patriarchy wrote this book because they hate women so much so that they said the mother is not important. They said the mother is not important. Child, please. Child, please. So that's another lie. There's just so many lies. We just don't know who birthing these babies. We don't know who birthing these babies. But you got a bunch of men telling you who the daddy is. See, I know that's men lying, because men don't never want to claim a child. They don't never want to claim a child. Oh, you think men were just good daddies from the jump? No, the fuck they wasn't. No, the fuck they wasn't. What's his name? Abraham was going to sacrifice his kids. So that's a lie. So Seth's line is Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. So the plain answer is Adam and Eve's relatives were their grandchildren, were their children, grandchildren, and their great-great-grandchildren. So you telling me the granddaddy of all them grandbabies was fucking his grandbabies? Incest is disgusting and abhorrible. That's why it's unlawful to this fucking day. To this fucking day. Okay? To this fucking day. That would literally mean that everybody is related. That would mean nobody is not related. That would mean everybody is literally from the same bloodline. There cannot be no separate bloodlines. And if it's one bloodline, if this is just two black people, white folks entered when? Sham and Ham. The curse of Ham. So the curse of Ham literally said, his son Ham, father of Canaan, sees Noah's nakedness and tell his brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth take the garment, walk backward, and covered Noah without looking at him. When Noah wakes up, he says, guess what? I've been raped. He said, who the fuck rapes me? Who raped me? The curse of Ham was later twisted to justify slavery and racism. People falsely claim Ham's descendants were Africans and that the curse meant black people were destined for slavery. That was not what Genesis says. So there's no legitimate Bible story where Shem and Ham was stripped of the color. It's not. So that means white people, you don't even exist. You don't even exist. So how can we start off with two black people to now we got a race of Caucasoids walking around? The Bible even literally says, no one was stripped of their color. So white people, how did you get here? Tell me, okay, the blue eye trait is usually described as coming from a recessive genetic change, but the real genetics are a little more layered than simple brown dominant blue recessive, okay? So only 10,000 years ago, white people came about. See that? All blue-eyed people share a common ancestors. So if the black people were here first, that means Nordic aliens that means that the aliens have been here since 10,000 years ago. You thought I was bullshitting? No, I wasn't bullshitting. The only people that's supposed to be on this earth are melanated indigenous people. White people, as ChatGPT will explain for you, the aliens, yes, are real, and they are the recessive trait that hopped on this earth 10,000 years ago. So somebody is lying. And since we all have not lived longer than 60 years, I think 10,000 years is long enough to tell a lie. You get it? Earth was invaded. Earth was invaded by Nordic aliens. You don't believe me? Look it up. Look it up. The blue-eye genetic mutation. Okay? The famous estimate says the mutation likely spread from common ancestor 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, and that estimate comes from research led by Hans Aberg. Now, if they got here 10,000 years ago and the Jesus story bullshit was 2,500 years ago, do you see who fucked the Bible up? You see that? Do you see that? So yes, the Bible is corroborated. The Bible is fake. And then white folks is not even supposed to be on this planet because they are what? Nordic aliens, extraterrestrials being mostly found in UFO. Okay, these are described as tall human-looking beings, often said to be 6 to 7 feet tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed. This is where the Nordic label comes from. Pale or luminous skin. Okay, pale or luminous skin. Somebody's lying. And I want to say, it's the Oz. The Wizard of what? Oz. Somebody's behind that goddamn curtain. Controlling humanity, controlling every race, and controlling every storyline. Okay? Do you understand that? Someone is behind that curtain. Because you know why? Systemic racism. Systemic racism. They have enslaved the indigenous melanated people of this goddamn planet to mine and resource the gold, the crystals, the oils, the waters. You think you got a job. No, that's not a job. You're an indentured servant. You're an indentured servitude. And you think, oh, I'm going to go work on the oil rigs. Okay, yeah, slave. It pays good, but you're still a slave to that job. Remember, they need oil. They need water. They need diamonds. They need gold. Fruits. Don't forget the fruits and vegetables. Who's going to dig that shit up? Who's going to dig this shit up? You. It's you. Let me have CG give me this. And this is why Donald Trump is today going to tell you, hey, don't forget, the alien invasion is coming. But you don't understand, the aliens are already here, and they're the white folks, the Nordic aliens. That's why they're colonizing, okay? Colonization is a story of powerful groups taking land, labor, resources, culture, and identity from other people. You see that culture? So your Bible story, which let me go ahead and pull up. Solomon was a black man. Okay? Who do we have right here? Goliath was a black man. David was a black man. Delilah, black woman. Okay? Nebuchadnezzar, black man. Esau, black man. Isaac, black man. Ishmael, black man. Jacob, black man. Jethro, black man. Jonathan, black man. Joseph was a black man. Jesus is daddy. Say if Jesus was real. Say if we played on to that. Mary would be a black woman. That's why we have the Mary Magdalene. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you. Black Madonna. Mary would be a black woman. So no, you don't have white Jesus. Nowhere. And hold on, I'm going to do you one better. Let me see if I can upload this right quick. All right. Black Madonna, which is the black Mother Mary. Let me show you something. Let me see if it posted. Here we go. You cannot have a white Jesus. If Yeshua, you mean Yeshua? Yeshua mama was black Madonna, black Mary, black Joseph. Where did this wigger come in at? If you are the Jews, why do you think they call themselves Ish? It's like the show Black-ish. Means sorta, kind of. Sorta, kind of. If everybody in the Bible is black, that means that the white people who literally came to Earth, invaded planet Earth and colonized Earth, literally colonized your stories, colonized your land, colonized your culture, and took it. These are your stories. Tell the white man to give them back. Can't no KKK, Ku Klux Klan member be a Christian if it belongs to the niggas. You see where I'm going with this? Israelites. Stolen culture, stolen story, colonized. You see how they took everything and they gave it their own spin? And Jesus is Jesus, is Zeus. Jesus is literally Zeus. The story was made up. They took your story. They took your story just like they took your glory. Okay? Woo! Colonization is a story of powerful groups taking land, labor, resources, culture, and identity from other people, then rewriting their story to make it sound civilized, legal, or God ordained. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? The Bible has so many contradictions, it's not even funny. The fact that literally God said, Satan, watch me tempt Job. Watch me tempt Job. He told Satan, hey, look, watch what I'm about to do to Job. Satan didn't do that himself. God did it. God did it. And the fact that God didn't know that Job wasn't going to literally say, okay, I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to let you keep taking everything I got. He had to make a wager. He had to make a wager. Hey, Lucifer, you think he going to stay with me or stay with you? Watch how loyal my servant is. Watch how loyal I could put this fool through the most and he still won't leave. But he doesn't resurrect his family and give him back his family. Everything God took, he replaced with something else, which is even shittier. Why would I want a new family? Why would I want children that I don't even recognize? Are you dumb? Are you dumb? Job is introduced as a righteous man. He is wealthy, respected, and described as blameless and upright. He has children, livestock, servants, and strong reputation. God basically says, have you considered? See, this is how fucked up God is. He said, hey, y'all don't understand. He gave Satan Satan runs this world. Satan is the ruler. Hold on, let me get that too. Satan has the power and the authority over all earthly kingdoms. Jesus even tells you that Satan is the ruler of this world, not God. He didn't say God rules this world. He didn't say, he didn't say Yahweh rules this world. He didn't say Yeshua rules this world. He said Satan is the ruler of this world. God gave Satan this world. He didn't give you this world. He didn't give Adam and Eve this world. He didn't give nobody but Satan this world. And the fact that God literally went back and said, hey, what about if I give you Job to torture? He said, have you considered my servant Job? There's no one like him. He's blameless and upright, fears God and turns away from the evil. Satan says Job is the only faithful because God protects him and blesses him. He argues that if Job loses everything, it's because God took it from him. Not Satan. Not Satan. Satan didn't take shit from him. God took it. God took his family. God took his livestock. God took everything he gave him. And it would be cool if God was like, okay, cool trick. Let me go resurrect his family back up. But he didn't. He didn't. He replaced it with a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of Job loses everything. Satan's trying to say, hey, if you come over here, I'll give you more than what God gave you. I'll give you more than God gave you. So Satan kept trying to test him, kept trying to test him, kept trying to test him, but he didn't falter. Satan didn't trip him up. God tripped him up. And God told Satan to go and trick him. Now, if God is all-knowing and God is omnipotent, why the fuck would he play with your emotions like that? That's narcissistic behavior. That's like a man coming out here saying, hey, if I get with this girl, she'll let me do anything to her. I could cheat on this bitch. I could lay with this bitch. And it don't matter what I do to her. She's going to take me back. That is human narcissistic behavior. Fuck out of here. You telling me God didn't know he was going to win? That's crazy. That's crazy. So yes, Job is just another bedtime Bible story and is a brutal story about suffering, divine permission, accusation, and the mystery of why righteous people suffer. Do you understand me? There was no reason in the world for God to do what he did to Job. None. None. He didn't give him his children back. He didn't give him his land back. He gave him all new shit. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to burn down your house, but I'm going to give you another house. Even though your kids is in the house that I burned down, I'm going to literally take these kids from this family and put them in your family and give you a new house and new shit. How is that righteous? How is that divine? How is that okay? I'm never going to worship a God who will torture me for his pure pleasure. And the fact that artificial intelligence is saying that's a goddamn bedtime Bible story about a brutal story about suffering, that's crazy. Even artificial intelligence saying, damn, that dude is crazy as fuck. Do you not understand what I'm saying to you? So, no. The entire narrative of obey God or you're going to go to hell is bullshit when the story has been scripted and colonized. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When the story is stripped and colonized. So colonization is literally civilized, legal, and God ordained when they rewrite the stories. Colonization is when one nation or empire moves into another land and takes control over the people. Did you see how we didn't know who Cain baby mama was? It's because humans were responsible for that. If the book was written by God, the story would not be tampered with. If it was gospel, and if it was from God, the story would not have 400 writers, 200 writers. And that's like the Writers Guild. In Hollywood, SAG, the Writers Association, okay? That Bible is just like Hollywood coming in saying, oh, this is a great script. Let's take this script and make it for TV. And let's take this script and let's make it into a movie. And let's take this script and make it into a Bible. Everything has been colonized. From your deities, to your gods, to your ancestors, to your culture, to your land, to even your lingo. Even your lingo is being colonized. Okay? Colonization is when one nation or empire moves into another land and takes control over the people, the land, the government, the resources, the trade, and the what? The religion, the education, and the identity. The identity. Come here. That's why we got these fools over here taking away your identity. White people cannot be Christians. And Jews cannot be in Christianity when they have Judaism. Fuck out of here. It's not that hard. You've been colonized again. How many times are you going to keep letting them colonize your goddamn story, colonize your goddamn land, colonize your goddamn religion? When the Nordic aliens got here 10,000 years ago, when you already been here at 1 BCE, guess what? They changed all of that because they didn't like it that indigenous, melanated, aboriginal people own this land. That's why it's called an alien invasion. That's why they keep calling the immigrants aliens. You see how I'm making it make sense? They're immigrants. These immigrants who came from the Caucasus Mountains, okay, came from the Caucasus Mountains. They were so bad in society that we had to run them off to the mountains because they was doing the most. We enslaved them first. Yes, white people were the first slaves. But when they realized they were slaves, they said, oh, no, the fuck, we ain't slaves no more. And they overturned the shit, and we've been the slaves ever since. I don't know how y'all are missing this script. I don't know how y'all are missing this story. I don't know how y'all are missing this story. It's cut and dry. You don't need a preacher. You don't need an evangelist. You don't need, we can do Bible study all day, but I will blow you out of the fucking water. You can put the Bible in artificial intelligence, and guess what? The artificial intelligence is going to tell you that that story was man-made. I've already put it in the machine, and guess what? It says, yes, the Bible is man-made. Man-made. So what are you going to do? Knowing what you know now, knowing that artificial intelligence has literally debunked everybody's history, what are you going to do now? Are you going to take the land back? Are you going to take your God back? Are you going to take your religion back? What is your next plan? Because you can't keep worshiping white Jesus. You can't. Matter of fact, they got to get rid of this name because this name is not this name. You got to get rid of this name because this name is not this name. That's why it's ish. Sorta, kinda, not really. Do you see where I'm going? You have been fooled. You have been bamboozled. There's nothing else to tell you. There's nothing more else to tell you. Let's keep talking about colonization because I don't think y'all understand it enough. Colonization usually happens when by force, we're coming with war, weapons, police, military occupation, law, fake treaties, land deeds, discovery doctrines, citizenship rules, religion, missionaries, forced conversions. Oh, you mean like this conversion? It's Yeshua, not Jesus. And Jesus spells Zeus. It's Jesus. It's Jesus. So lie again. Lie again. They don't even, Jonathan is not even, there were no J's before the 1500 in Aramaics. Jonathan in Hebrew is Johannathan. Because why? There were no motherfucking J's. It's Johannathan like it's Yahusha. Do you understand? There's no J's. There are no J's. Yeshua, Jonathan, anything with a J is going to be a Y. They've been lying to you. They've been lying to you the entire time to enslave you. Okay? Economics by mining plantations. That's why they got plantations all over the South. Taxes, debt, forced labor, education, teaching the colonized people that their history, names, language, and spirituality are inferior. Them Jews done infiltrated Christianity and told you that they are the chosen, the white people are the chosen people, when the white people only got here 10,000 years ago. Be for real. Be for real. The first person on earth was a black Ethiopian woman. A black Ethiopian woman. Where are you getting Erica Kirks from? One of the most famous early female human ancestors was Lucy, an Australopithecus africanus found in Ethiopia. Human origins trace deeply into what? Africa! So where did you get all these white folks from? That's why they're telling you to go back to your land. Because they are not from here. They never been from here. And yes, aliens are fucking real. And then y'all don't even know. We already have our own white people. They are albinos. Watch this. You see this? We don't need white people on earth because we already have every color in the melanin universe that we needed. So when you look at a albino, you can tell he a nigga because he has nigga traits. You see that? We have our own white people. When you see a blue-eyed white person, that is a Nordic alien. Because our white folks have red eyes. You see that? We have our own white people. We have our own white people. The abomination is the white race. Because it shows you, baby, we can birth every color under the fucking sun. Every color under the fucking sun. You see this? This is how far the melanated gene can go. And it shows you that the real abomination is the blue-eye recessive genes that came 10,000 years ago. Oh, you thought I was playing? Oh, you thought I was playing? No. The white people that you're seeing today are the Nordic aliens. They are aliens. They are not supposed to be here. We have our own set of white people. We have our own set of white people. We can make our own white people. So do you want humanity to tell you another lie? This is why colonization is important. You have been infiltrated. Planet Earth has been infiltrated. And I cannot say that enough. I cannot say that enough. We have our own white race. And let me tell you something. They don't say go back to your fucking country, nigger. They don't say that. I can guarantee you that. Okay? So, it's called mitochondrial Eve. Okay? Mitochondrial DNA line, likely in Africa. Lucy equals ancient African female hominin, not the first woman. Modern humanism originated in Africa. Black and African ancestry is central to human origins. Do you believe me now that Earth has been infiltrated by the fucking Nordic aliens who are not supposed to be here? Okay? Lucy was the first black woman is more symbolically than scientifically exact. Mitochondrial Eve gene. Do you get it now? Oh, you get it. That's why Donald Trump is talking about alien invasion. Alien invasions. Yeah, it's called the Nazi American. It's called the Aryan race. The Aryan race. Have you seen all the white folks on the internet saying nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, nigga that? It's crazy. But y'all are so stupid and hell bent on this Jesus shit that you got distracted. But I'm here to pull you out of that goddamn mess today. And I got history, I got science, and I got artificial intelligence on my side proving that, number one, no, God is not a living being. It is a energy. It is a conscious energy that resides within you. It resides within you. It's not one person. You are a God with amnesia. Did you know that ChatGPT literally said, Crystal, you're right. You are humans with amnesia. You are gods with amnesia. I done already talked to ChatGPT about this story. It's just hard for me to go back because I talk to ChatGPT all the time about all the shit. And I literally debunk everything and I run it through artificial intelligence. And I promise you, artificial intelligence says, number one, God is not real. He's not a man. God is not a man. Number two, the Bible is not real. So once y'all let them two go and then realize that y'all are the royal inheritors of Earth and to take your planet back because some Nordic aliens have overtook the planet, then that's when the healing can begin. You need to fight this alien invasion that's been on this planet for 10,000 years. Why do you think the Bible only dates back to 2,500 years? Not to mention the earth is 4 billion years old. Why is the Bible only recorded 2,500 years ago? You see, the math ain't mathing. So you telling me even though the world was created 4 billion years ago, God and Jesus only starts at 2,500 years? No. You're under a spell. And you don't have spiritual discernment. You don't have cognitive dissonance. And you're really not smart. You're just being brainwashed, indoctrinated, and you got Stockholm syndrome. Okay? Let's get back to this colonization. Why do you think they're doing gerrymandering now? Huh? Why do you think these fools are doing gerrymandering and literally taking away the black votes out of the black communities? remapping the maps to where black people can't vote anymore, but they're only going to stay in the white districts. Suburban neighborhoods was created to prevent black people from voting, because when they wanted the votes in that district, they said black people are not worthy enough to vote. And then did you know in order to vote, you had to own land? That's what made it even harder for black people to vote. So when the freed black people start accruing land, gaining land, and the fucking white folks who used to be one party, it was one party. And then in the party, one white person got mad at the other white person and said, it was one Republican, okay? We're all supposed to be fighting for democracy, right? So one white person got mad at the other white person and said, I'm going to go. Mind you, they're both the Klan. The KKK got mad at one of the other Klan members and said, I'm going to go and make my own party. And that's where you got the Democrats at. He said, you can't be taking all the votes. I want to get a vote. So they broke off into a separate party, because if you understand, the government is supposed to be one government under God, just like you're supposed to be one nation under God. But you can't be one nation under God, because there's over how many nations? Let me ask ChatGPT. Everything about this world is wrong. So there's 193 recognized nations. You can't be one nation under the God if there's 193 nations. You're being indoctrinated. This is why, number one, we can't have a president, because y'all are all kings and queens of your own kingdom. It's called your household. And some of you may know this as HOH, head of household. The government knows that every household is a separate entity within itself. So they got you under the guises of, let's be one nation under God. No, we can't be one nation under God, because under that one nation, you have 193 nations of different nationalities that don't serve the same fucking God. We all do not have the same God. Okay? You can't be one nation under one God, because your nation doesn't believe what my nation believes. Y'all can't be this stupid. Now, there is no exact number of gods across every nation. Because, what did I just say? Because every nation has multiple religions, multiple traditions, multiple ancestors, multiple deities. It's like I'm the only smart person on this goddamn planet left. Y'all can't be this dumb. Ancient Egypt had over 1,500 gods and goddesses. So no, we can't be one nation under motherfucking God. You can't make me worship Christianity. That's not my God. God damn. It's as simple as that. I don't believe in what you believe in. So you can't force Christianity or your God on me because of what my nation and my ancestors have done. I'm so tired of Christianity trying to convert people over. Your ancestors are not my ancestors. Your God is not my God. We don't believe in the same shit. Do you not see the fucking joke of this shit? The joke's on you. They're doing whatever they can to get us under all one umbrella so they can control everyone. It's called one world order. Tell me about the one world order. The one world order idea usually means a future system where political power, money, law, culture, surveillance, and religion become centralized under one global structure. Okay? The religious part, mixing all religions. The fear is that global powers will push all the universal religions together, as it's saying all gods are the same. All paths are equally true. Doctrine does not matter anymore. So I'm trying to tell you, they're moving us to the new world order. The new world order is real. The new world order is here. They're going to throw out your Bible. They're going to throw out these doctrines because they know they don't hold weight anyway. They know that they don't. They know that they don't. Sins are going to become outdated language. Jesus becomes one teacher among many instead of Lord. Religion becomes a tool for social obedience. This is what many Christians call religious syncretism, blending separate religions into one smooth, politically useful, faithful system. You can't be this dumb. That's saying, guess what? Islam, Judeo, Christianity, Buddha, Satanism. Don't forget, Satanism is a religion. So they're going to mix Satanism, Judeo, Kabbalah, okay? Judeo, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Satanism. They're going to mix all of them together for a one world order. How do you not want to stop them? How do you not want to stop them? There are real public efforts promoting interfaith dialogue, religious tolerance, and global cooperation. For example, the Vatican's document of human fraternity, signed by Pope Francis and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, calls for people of faith to work together for peace, mutual respect, and it describes itself as a guide for mutual respect. The United Nations has promoted the idea of literally a one world religion and a one world order. People get suspicious because global unity language can sound beautiful on the surface, but can also become dangerous if it starts to say your faith is only acceptable only if it submits to our approved global values. Huh? Humans should not be killing each other over belief. But forced spiritual flattering is different. If a system says you may believe privately, but your religion must be rewritten to fit that state and global order, then that becomes spiritual control. And that's exactly what they are doing. They're literally going to say, hey, we welcome Satanism. We welcome Buddhism. We welcome Judaism. We welcome Islam. We welcome Christianity, all under one umbrella to make it one God. You're going to take all the gods. And remember, Kemet, which are the indigenous people, y'all got 1,500 gods alone. 1,500 gods alone. That's crazy. That's crazy. At some point, you got to stop the colonization. That's all it is. It's just colonization so they can make money off of you. And y'all ain't using artificial intelligence correctly. This is the way you need to be using. You need to be debunking everything these fools said was gospel. You need to be debunking everything they said was true. Anything that a human says, you need to be putting it in ChatGPT. You need to be running it through the machine, because guess what it's going to do? It's going to debunk every lie that has ever been told. Every lie that has ever been told. And I just showed you how to use artificial intelligence. I just showed you how to use it. And I just showed you what it said. And did you know that ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, is owned by Bill Gates? So the fact that Bill Gates is letting this information be released after he did COVID, after he tried to depopulate the globe, the fact that he literally allows this kind of information in as gospel has to speak volumes. It speaks volumes. So do you get it now? You're being gentrified. You're being colonized. So colonization. Let's finish this. Now listen to me when I tell you, you gotta understand. That's why we're having a race war right now. A race war is going on right now because the Nordic aliens need you to harvest this planet. They need that oil, water, fruits, vegetables, diamonds, which we'll say crystals. And crystals literally are batteries. So batteries, your cell phones run off crystal quartz. Okay? Could you imagine being an alien from another planet and you said, okay, I'm going to use advanced alien technology, which cell phones are advanced alien technology. They said planet Earth has all of these resources, but I'm not going to do it myself. So I need somebody to go work at the oil rig. I need somebody to go and distill water. I need somebody pickers, they call pickers, to go pick the fruits and vegetables. Okay? Why do you think they had blood diamonds? Why do you think Leonardo DiCaprio made the movie Blood Diamonds about how they were stripping Africa of all of her resources? And if life started in Africa, which Africa is America, because it was one tectonic plate, one huge, giant tectonic plate that ran from sea to shining sea. Okay? So can you imagine? And if we, hold on, let me go ahead and pull up this map. Give me a map. When we pull up this map, you see how this is broken off? And you see how Africa is right there. You see how Africa fits this puzzle piece perfectly. What the government does is they send sonic waves up from the bottom of, they send it into the earth, sonar waves. They send sonar frequencies into the earth and it breaks up the land. That's why earthquakes are created. Earthquakes are man-made. You see how they broke this continent up? And if we literally take this map and we piece it together over here, Africa is connected to America. Easily. You see it. Look at the map. If we were, and y'all remember how we used to do puzzles all the time? Take this motherfucking puzzle, piece it to that piece, and it will fit. It is going to fit. So the fact that they said, okay, planet Earth, aliens came down and said, man, planet Earth has all of these resources, and we need to take all of these resources. We can make money off of it because it's worth something. But we don't want to do the work ourselves. So we need laborers, indentured slaves. You think, oh, I pick a career as a nurse because I want to be a nurse. No, you just picked a career as a slave who's extracting blood, semen. When nurses do their jobs, they're literally either extracting from you or putting something in you. And since the black market said, hey, we need a brain. If they need a brain, they can put you in. Oh, being brain dead, by the way, is another term for organ harvesting. Organ harvesting. So if the doctors tell you you're brain dead, no, you're really not. They're going to take your organs and they're going to harvest them. Them nurses are not there to help you, but them nurses are there to harvest those organs. Okay? So everybody is a slave and everybody has an indentured servitude. Whether it's you paving asphalt, working on the oil rigs, distilling water, being a picker of fruit and vegetables, digging out diamonds, working in chop shops. You don't understand. The human was created to be a slave. Okay? Because the gods didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do the job. All right? So when they colonized the planet, they said, hey, man, them diamonds is worth something. But who the fuck we going to get to pick them because we not doing the work themselves. That's why you have overlords. That's why you have a manager. What's the root word in manager? A man who manages. A slave catcher. Okay? That's why slave catchers went on to be law enforcement officers. Do you see where I'm going with this? It all comes back to colonization. Okay? It all comes back to colonization. Now, so they said, hey, we're going to colonize education, economics, religion, law, reclassification. That's why they literally said, okay, indigenous, aboriginal Americans, guess what? You are going to be reclassified as African Americans, but it can't be true because there's no such thing as an African and American. Either you're an immigrant or you're not. Either you're an immigrant or you're indigenous to America. Okay? So there's no such thing as an African and American. You cannot be Nigerian and American. You just can't. That means you're an immigrant. You're not of that American nation, so you cannot claim to be from that nation. If Africa is over here and America is over here, what does that mean? When you cross this land, you're immigrating to their land. You're migrating. That's why migrating and immigrating are the same word. You migrated to become an immigrant. Do you understand? So you cannot be African and American at the same time. Therefore, you are immigrant in the land of America. You're not, and when I pull up the 12 tribes, the 13 tribes, the 13 Indian tribes, ain't no African saying, oh, I'm Cherokee. That's why you got to stop saying I'm black. No, are you Cherokee? Are you Choctaw? Are you Blackfoot? What is your nation? Black is a color. It is a misnomer. The word black is a misnomer. Let me get CG to pull that up for you. Black is a misnomer. Yes, Crystal. Yes, black can be a misnomer, depending on what you're talking about, especially when it's used as a full identity, nationality, ethnicity, or origin story. Black is a color, not a nation. Not a nation. Where is your tribe? Where is your bloodline? And semantics is language. That's why they can't say anti-Semitics. You know what anti-Semitics is? Is you can't talk against the languages of the melanated people. That's what semantics mean. Did you know that? That's why white people are so stupid that they don't understand that semantics means you can't be against melanated people's languages. Did you know that? So the fact that these colonizers have came in and fed you Jesus, fed you Jewish, fed you Israelites, fed you all this bullshit just to colonize your land and to take over, it's preposterous. And it behooves me that y'all are going along with it. Stop calling yourself black. You are not black. You are actually brown. Do I look black to you? Do I look black to you? That background is black. Let's put the two. Let's go ahead and do this. Two different colors, right? Why do y'all call a nation of people black? And then even the darkest black is indigo. That's where you get indigenous. Hello. That's why they say so black you're blue. Because you're indigo. Indigenous. How hard is this for you to understand? Where is your nation? Where is your tribe? Okay? You look, even ChatGPT is saying you cannot be black and you cannot be African or American. Either you are a fucking immigrant or you are indigenous to America. That's why white people cannot be Americans. No, 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 no. Europeans. What nation are you from in Europe? That's why we have Slavic, Romania, Germans. And that's why we got to stop calling them white. Ask them what nation are they from, and they're actually the Ashkenazi Jews. They are the Slavics. And Slavic is where slave came from. That's why they made you the slaves. You see, the etymology of words matter. The origin of words matter. Find your nation. And there are 198 nations. Pick one. Do it responsibly. So, there you are. I'm sick of this going on and on and on and on. It doesn't make sense. What is your nationality? Black is not a complete identity. You can't use black. And then you can't get reparations if you don't tell me what nation you're from. Okay? All right. So let's get back to colonization. Give me back to colonization. Ancient texts reveal that God's created humans to do labor and service for the gods. See that? The Anunnaki were extraterrestrials from Nibiru who came to Earth to mine gold and genetically engineer humans, and mining slaves is mainly from the Zechariah Sitchin book, 12th Planet, the gold mining Nibiru DNA engineering version. Okay? Does that make sense to you? That's why the story of the Anunnakis sounds way better than the story of Adam and Eve, because I just disproved the story of Adam and Eve to you. Okay? Now, colonization. The basic colonization pattern first, reclassification, renaming people, tribes, nation, races, and identities to fit the colonizer system. So remember, I just showed you how they literally took your story and made it his story. That's where history, see that? His what? Story right there. Etymology of words matter. This is spell casting. This is them white devils casting a spell on your ass because they know if you use certain words, they get the credit for it. So when you're telling history, you're telling his story, not your story, not my story, not my ancestor's story. You're telling his story of colonization. This is why this cannot exist. It's colonization. The Bible has been colonized. Planet Earth has been colonized. Okay? Stop being stupid. Stop being dumb. You don't know how to educate yourself? Come to me. I'll help you. You want to do Bible study? We'll do Bible study all goddamn day. But you don't need Bible study because it's not gospel. It's not real. Okay, it holds no measure. It holds no weight. But y'all enforce that shit because y'all are scared and you have Stockholm syndrome. And you think Massa gonna beat your ass for not showing up to church every Sunday morning, giving 20% of your money. The fact that church involves money is crazy. What? It's 4 Sundays in a month? 20% times 4 Sundays? Bitch, do you know what that is? That means you're giving 80% of your money to the church to save your soul that can't even be saved. You think atonement? You think giving a man who gets tax-free for owning a church 80% of your money is going to save your soul when the Bible literally says no man can literally atone for the wages of your sins? Child, please. Okay. I'm trying to show you this because I need you to think. I need you to release yourself from their cage. Okay? The basic colonization pattern. First, outsiders arrive and call the land new, even though people already live there. Then they map it, rename it, claim it, and divide it. Then they say the original people are savages, heathens, uncivilized, tribal, backward, and unfit to govern themselves. Then they bring in soldiers, churches, merchants, and courts. Did you see? Churches is a tool to colonize people. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And this phone's about to die. Hold on. The phone's about to die. Woo, it was on 2%. All right. So, where were we? Okay. Then they send merchants, courts, schools, and taxes. Indoctrination. Indoctrination. Then they take the resources of the gold, silver, cotton, sugar, tobacco, land, timber, oil, minerals, spices, animals, and human labor. Then they rewrite the history books so future generations think the colonizers built the nation when really they extracted from people who were already there. You mean like the Adam and Eve story that I told you about? Because Adam had a baby. Adam had kids before he met Eve. I showed you a ChatGPT literally pulled up. Hey, Adam had kids before he met Eve. Okay, what was the baby mama's names? How does he have kids from other baby mamas if Adam and Eve are supposed to be the only two people on earth? Make it make sense. None of these stories are making fucking sense. And you're getting mad at me because the math ain't mathing, man. Please get the fuck out of my face. I'm smarter than you. I will forever be smarter than this goddamn system and anything you're trying to pull over my eyes. Okay? The fact that they said, then they take the resources, then they rewrite the history book so future generations think the colonizers built it. That's colonization. The European colonization wave from the 1400s onward, European powers like Spain, Portugal, Britain, France, the Netherlands, and Belgium spread across the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Those are your Melanites, your Kemites. Okay? Do you see that? The people with the lesser melanation, with no melanin, are not human. Okay? In order for you to be human, you need to have brown skin and brown eyes. It's as simple as that. It is simple as that. Now, they claimed authority through ideas like the doctrine of discovery, which basically said Christian European powers could claim lands occupied by non-Christian people. If God was so good, why would he let white Christians take non-Christians' lands? What? Y'all are dumb. Y'all are really fucking dumb. They claimed authority through ideas like the doctrine of discovery, which basically said Christian European powers could claim lands occupied by non-Christian people. That became one of the legal spiritual excuses for the conquest. This is how they justified stealing indigenous land, enslaving Africans, forcing Christianity. Whoa. So artificial intelligence, you're telling me that Christianity was forced upon the indigenous people? Oh. I keep proving myself right every time I dig deeper. Every time I go down these rabbit holes, I prove myself right. No one is supposed to have Christianity. No one. But the fact that the colonizers took it, made it their own, and then forced it on you, that's insanity. They also how they justified destroying languages. That's where you get that anti-Semitic bullshit from. renaming nations, creating a racial caste system, forcing people into European legal identities. European legal identities. So every time you say, oh, she black, that is a European identifier. That's a misnomer. Miss. Why do you think they get the word misnomer? What's the key word in misnomer? It's miss me with that bullshit. Means you're being misclassified. You're being misidentified. See that? Miss. It is missing. Miss. Root word of missing is miss. Etymology of the word misnomer is you're missing your identity, your nationality. The nationality is missing from the word black. Black what? Black. Where's your nation? Where's your tribe? How can I find your ancestors if you just tell me you're black? That's vague. That's very vague. Plus, we don't even have people who are this color. We have people that are so black that they are blue, indigo. But no, we don't have people this color. Okay? We just don't. So they were forcing people into European legal identities, extracting wealth back to Europe, colonization in the Americas. In the Americas, colonization meant the invasion of lands already occupied by indigenous nations. The colonizers brought disease, war, slavery, forced removal, boarding schools, broken treaties, land theft, and identity destruction to the Americas. It's called Indian removal, forcing indigenous nations off their land. Trail of Tears, forced relocation of Cherokee and other southeastern native people. Now, if I'm from the Trail of Tears, you see my color? Don't I look like a goddamn Indian? Do I look like an African? Let me show you what an African look like. Completely different. Let's take a Sudanese. All right. Does it look like me and this nigga got the same fucking phenotype and genotype? Nope. 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 That's why black people can tell who's Nigerian, who's Jamaican, who's Ethiopian, who's Cherokee, who's Choctaw. Them niggas don't look like us niggas. Okay? They don't even have the same phenotype as we do. You see how black he looks? So black he's blue. He has a tint of blue to him. He's indigo. Okay? But look at him. You see his genotype? You see his phenotype? Now look at me. Our phenotype are not the same. That's like looking, you can tell the difference between a Jamaican, a Nigerian, a Sudanese, an Ethiopian. It's just difference. It's complete difference. So miss me with that bullshit of, oh, all of y'all are black. No, the fuck we're not. We're brown. We're melanated. We're indigenous. We're indigo. Okay? Completely different bloodlines. You can tell I'm from the Americas. You can tell I'm a fucking Indian. You can look at me like, oh, that bitch, Pocahontas. By the way, Pocahontas was a black woman. She wasn't white. Another colonization point. The fact that Pocahontas was black and they made her white, insane. It's just a different, look, you can tell different phenotypes. That's an African. Now look at me. Do I look like an African? Physical features. Phenotype. Let's look up the word phenotype. Phenotype is a set of observable traits or characteristics of organisms shaped by both its genetic makeup and environmental influences. That's why Africans are different than indigenous Indian Americans. See the difference? You understand now? We don't all look alike. We can't all look alike because of our phenotype, observable traits. Okay? So, when they got through raiding and pillaging in Africa, they came over and colonized America. And you saw how they separated the nations. The European nation, which is the non-Melanites, came to colonize the Melanites, the Kemites. You understand? So they started doing the Indian removal, forcing indigenous nations off their land. Trail of Tears, forced relocation of Cherokee and the southern eastern native peoples. Reservations, confining native nations to controlled territories. Boarding schools, taking native children to erase language, culture, and family ties. Blood quantum and racial classification, government systems deciding who counts as native. Reclassification, meaning people with indigenous ancestry were later labeled as black, colored, Negro, mulatto, African American, depending on the region. They literally said, we're going to make the Indians into a separate group of what? Blacks, coloreds, Negroes, mulattoes, or African Americans, which none of these titles exist. None of them. It's called reclassification, to remove your identity from the Indian who's indigenous and original to this land. It's as simple as that. The last part matters because colonization was not only about land, it was also about identity control. Colonization and slavery. Colonization and slavery worked together. European empires stole land in the Americas, then used enslaved African labor and indigenous labor to build wealth from plantations, mines, railroads, ports, and agriculture. The racial system was built to protect the wealth system. That's why God doesn't exist, because the Europeans have secured a colony so great that no man can touch it unless you say, I'm tired of being a slave, and you overthrow the fucking government. It's up to you. I'm just here to put these ideas in your head, and I'm just here to lead the revolution. Okay? Whenever you're ready for war, I am ready to lead you. Take your land back. Take your identity back. Okay? So that means race as we know it was not just biology. It became legal and an economic tool. It decided who could own land, who could be enslaved, who could testify in court, who could marry whom, who could inherit property, who could move freely, who could be counted as human under the law. That is why racial identity in colonized countries is so messy, and it was engineered. It was engineered. So no, you can't be a Christian saying God is good all the time, and all the time God is good when colonization exists, you dumb bitch. How is God good all the time when everybody with melanin in their fucking system has been colonized? You dumb bitch. Make it make sense. What God are you worshiping? Are you worshiping the white man's God? That's what it sounds like. Because if you say God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, I'm going to slap you in your mouth. How is God good all the time when racism has a system in place? How is God good all the time and all the time God is good when we're still being lynched in 2026? Huh? Hell, they said your black ass can't even fucking vote right now, but God is good all the time? Get the fuck out of my face. You're a disgrace. You're an engineered disgrace. An engineered disgrace. Ain't no way you could think this is God's plan to enslave the nation of Melanites. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. This is why racial identity in colonized countries is so messy. You actually think a God would engineer a system where black people do not have peace in their own land? Wow. How indoctrinated are you? How indoctrinated are you? That's weird. Anyway, colonization in Africa. In Africa, European powers carved up the continent at the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885, drawing borders that ignored ethnic groups, kingdoms, languages, and existing nations. They extracted gold, diamonds, rubber, oil, copper, labor, and land and agricultural wealth. Now, listen to this part right here, because when I go back to the stories of the Anunnaki, I'm going to show you how the Anunnaki story is more subservient to this timeline than the Adam and Eve story. The Anunnaki slave mining theory. Long ago, the Anunnakis came to Earth from the heavens in modern UFO versions from a planet called Nibiru. They supposedly needed Earth resources, especially gold, to repair or to protect their own world's atmosphere. At first, the lower-ranking gods, being called the Igi, did the hard labor, digging, mining, canal work, harvesting, and building. Eventually, the Igigi rebelled because the labor was too heavy. You're supposed to rebel. I can't express this enough. This is why I'm teaching y'all this shit, because you're supposed to rebel. And I am here to lead you into rebellion. You see, I'm a rebel without a cause. Well, I'm a rebel with a cause. I need for you to get off your ass and overthrow the colonizers of this planet. And I need you to do it yesterday. You late. You are late. This is a war. We are in a war, a race war. And if you let this race keep colonizing this race, we're going to have a problem. We're never going to have freedom. They're already talking about gerrymandering. Do you know what gerrymandering is? It's where white folks are mad at the other white people and they say, hey, let's redistrict. Let's take out all the nigger neighborhoods and let's just keep it in the suburban white neighborhoods. And if the white power is screaming Aryan white Nazi nation, guess how the white vote is going to pull? But the fact that some of the white people didn't like racism, not because they knew it was wrong. They just didn't want Gregory's daddy having all the land. When they wanted their daddy Edward to have all the land. It's just white folks versus white folks. The rich versus the rich. And they're taking it out on the poor. And so the rich say, okay, if all the rich people don't want me to rule, then I'm going to go get the vote of the niggas. That's where the two separate parties came about. Because two white people had too much power, had too much money, and one white person took over all the land, and the other white person who lost all the land, money, and resources said, okay, let's make it a fair vote, and we'll include all the humans. He said, what? He said, yeah, you heard me. I'll include the niggas too. That's where gerrymandering came from. Because one white person lost a vote to another white person. So they said, hey, give me the niggas votes. Give me the niggas votes. and they took it out of the suburbs and they crossed the street over to the neighborhoods that were known as the ghettos. They said, all right, we'll let the black folks vote. That's why Trump said, okay, no. If I'm being racist right now to the niggas don't want me back in power. So if this white man goes and get the nigga votes on his sides, I will be put out of power. Do you not understand the history? This is why history is so beautiful. I got to break it down to you because you don't understand how these white devils are moving. They're not moving in your honor. They're not moving in your favor. They're not moving because it's the right thing to do. They're just moving because Greg got too much money and Greg got too much land. You see how this all goes? You see how this all goes. So no, they're not being noble. They're not being gentlemen. They're not being righteous. They just don't want one white man having more land than the other white man. That's it. That's it. So, let me show you why this Anunnaki story correlates better to what's going on today than the fucking Bible ever will. So the Nordic aliens and the Anunnakis literally came to Earth and they said, listen here. Our planet is failing. Our planet ain't got shit. Let's take all this stuff from Earth and we'll make slaves, okay? So at first, the lower ranking gods, beings called the Igigi, did the hard labor, digging, mining, canal work, harvesting, and building. Eventually, the Igigi rebelled because the labor was too heavy. That's why we can't have chop shops. That's why the minimum wage can't be $7.25 an hour because those are slave wages. Do you not understand? So the Anunnaki leadership, often involving Enki and Enlil, and the mother goddess Ninusog and Mami, that's where the term Mami comes from, decided to create a new worker race in an ancient Mesopotamian version. In ancient Mesopotamian version, humans are made from clay mixed with blood and flesh of slain God so they can carry God's workload. Now, you see this line right here that they were made from clay? Even the Bible takes some of this story and what do they say? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. What did he say in the Bible of Genesis? What did God use to make humans with? Dust. Well, if God in Genesis used dust to create humans, why does he and the Anunnaki share the same story with the same details? Humans are made from clay. So that's one thing that we can agree on is that the Nag Hammadi and Genesis, the Bible, literally can agree that guess what? We came from clay and it was mixed with blood, flesh of a slain God so they can carry God's workload. It's funny how both of those things are still left in the story in the creation of man. It's weird. So, in the modern ancient astronaut version, this becomes Anunnaki genetically engineered humans by mixing their DNA with early hominids so humans could serve as slave laborers. Let me tell you something. Slavery is not dead. It is the modern 9 to 5. You are supposed to be entrepreneurs. You're not supposed to work for another man. The working man is a sucker. Okay? Remember in the Bronx Tale when he told him, he said the working man, when Robert De Niro told his son, he said the working man is a sucker. It's true. You're not going to get rich being a working man. You can only be rich if you become an entrepreneur. Did you know that? The working man is a slave. The entrepreneur is the free man who incorporates slave into his company. Now, here's the important split. The Atrahis epic of the Akkadian creation and flood myth from around the second millennium BCE says the gods were doing hard labor. The burden became too much and the lower gods rebelled, and the humans were created to take over the gods' work. I told you, y'all are gods with amnesia. The big gods enslaved the little gods. You see that? That's funny. Same difference. Same difference. Genesis saying the same thing. The Enuma Elish saying the same thing. The Anunnaki story saying the same thing. Everybody's story is matching up in some parts. The lower gods rebelled, and humans were created to take over God's work. You see, the big God said to the little God, let's stop fighting and create someone lower than us. And that's where we get the Homo sapiens species from. One translation opens with the idea that when the gods, instead of man, did the work, their labor was too hard, and the Anunnaki made the Igigi carry the workload. With the modern Anunnaki theory adds the specific claim that the Anunnaki were extraterrestrials from Nibiru who came to Earth to mine gold and genetically engineer humans as mining slaves, and mainly came from the book The 12th Planet about the gold mining Nibiru DNA engineering version. Okay? The ancient text version says gods created humans to do labor and service for the gods. Okay? Anunnaki aliens engineered humans to mine the gold. Okay? This is why you're being colonized. Okay? This is why they're using saving souls as a cover for control. No one can save your souls. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you. God dang it. Now I got to come back all the way back down here. Give me the Bible verse. All right, this is why Jesus, your preacher, your pastor, nobody can spill their blood for the wages of your sins. None of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is costly, and it shall cease forever. Okay? Without shedding blood, there is no remission. No man can redeem another soul. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's huge. Oh my God. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Whew. So Jesus shedding his blood? No. No. The wages of sin is death. Blood cannot be spilled to atone for your sins. That's another contradiction. See, another contradiction with religion. Even God said the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal. He didn't say my blood is going to cover the cost of your sins. No, the wages of sin is death. Nobody's blood can save you from the wages of death. Bitch, be for real. That means no regular human can pay for the soul ransom for another person. Jesus was a human. Jesus was a human. No regular human can pay for the soul ransom for another person. Once again, the Bible contradicting itself. Fuck out of here. You don't know that Bible worth shit. You don't know how to comprehend the words that are placed on paper. So therefore, you don't have reading comprehension skills to ascertain what that Bible that is made by man is saying. But I do, and I'm breaking it down for you. So if anybody ever want to do Bible study, you can do it with ChatGPT, or you can do it with me, and I'll break it down for you with the ChatGPT, okay? You don't need a preacher. That's why they got the preachers there to take your money. You're giving 80% of your check every Sunday for somebody to lie to you when I just showed you that no man can spill his blood to literally, the wages of sin is death. That's it. The wages of sin is death. You cannot be saved. If you sin, you cannot be saved. Let's repeat this one more time. If you sin, you cannot be saved. Nice try, fake ass Jesus. Nice try, fake ass church. Nice try, fake ass Christianity. Plain and simple. You don't need a preacher to tell you something that can be broken down with artificial intelligence. You see, humans have tricked you for so fucking long, and that's why they're going to give the power to artificial intelligence, because humans have been tricked for so long by other humans. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. I think it's a saying from Mark Twain. Mark Twain literally said, religion started when the first con man met. Hold on, let me show you. Oh, I don't have it. Anyway, yeah, Mark Twain said when the first, when the first con man met the first scammer, that's when religion started. Okay, here's another contradiction. How did animals get their stripes? The Bible said Jacob carved stripes and spots into a tree and put his herd in front of them. And when they mated, when they gave birth, their babies had stripes and spots. Science says over a long period, any one animal has small changes in their coloring. Some color changes allowed animals to survive better than others of their species. The small changes piled up over time, resulting in a coloring scheme that helped the animals survive and reproduce. This is how animals got their stripes and other colors. It's called genetics. Saying that Jacob carved stripes into a tree and put it on animals, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You can't be this dumb. There's so many lies of Christianity. It's not even funny. We can't take any more lies from Christianity. You just can't. You can't. Okay? Let's finish colonization. So, colonization in Africa. Okay, they extracted gold, diamonds, rubber, oil, copper, labor, land, and agricultural wealth. Belgium and the Congo is one of the worst examples. Mass violence, forced labor, mutilation, extraction under King Leopold's regime. This is why we can't have a king. You understand that? Because everybody is a HOH. Everybody is the head of their household. You don't need one nation under one rule. It's going to go horribly wrong because what goes in your house may not go in somebody else's house. What goes in your kingdom may not go in someone else's kingdom. You see how in the white European kingdom, racism is allowed. But in the melanated nation, racism is not allowed. So no, we can't be two nations under God. We cannot be one nation under God. We have to be a separate nation under many gods. Colonization in Africa also replaced many local systems with European-style government, schools, churches, currencies, borders, and economic dependencies. Colonization in Asia and the Pacific. In India, the British East India Company and later the British Crown controlled trade, taxes, agriculture, and government. India's wealth was drained for Britain's empire. In the Philippines, the Pacific Islands, Australia, New Zealand, and many other places, colonization brought land theft, cultural suppression, forced labor, and imposed governments. In Australia, Aboriginal peoples were treated as if the land belonged to no one, terra nullius, even though they had lived there for tens and thousands of years. Why do you think when we pull up Australia Aborigines? Why do you think black folks pop up? White folks didn't get to Australia until the Europeans came over and colonized Australia. That's why we have white Australians, mate. Beer, Foster's, Australian for beer. You see that? Belgium, Germany went to Australia and started breeding and raping and pillaging the women. That's how you got white Aboriginal people. Because the Aboriginal, and we don't want to use the word ab. I hate using Aboriginal because original. And then we have original. Ab means away. And you're not away from the original when you are the original. This is why we don't like man-made names. We don't like man-made vernacular. We don't like man-made white colonized vernacular. We don't like it because they're still declassifying, reclassifying, relabeling, erasure. Literally, the indigenous people of the fucking melanated land, known as Atlantis, known as America, Tamerica. Okay? The Pangea. So miss me with that bullshit. That's why you got melanated people from sea to shining sea. Okay? Do you understand now why Aborigines, Aboriginal Australians are important? It's not white people. It's black folks. But what do? They give you white face and they paint the Aboriginal people as Australian white people, mate. Fuck out of here. Oh, don't you see? Melanated faces. Melanated faces. When we look at Aboriginal Australians, we look at what? Niggas. Bunch of niggas. Look at that. Niggas. But what happened? What happened? I tell you what happened. Colonization is what happened. And that's why we got Heath Ledger. We got Travis Fimmel. We got white Australians. We got Chris Hemsworth walking around here. Okay? Inbreeding. They literally, the Europeans started breeding and raping and pillaging. That's why we got white Australian people. We're not supposed to have them, but that's how it happened through colonization. Colonization in Asia and the Pacific. In India, the British East Indian Company came over to the Philippines, the Pacific Islands, Australia, New Zealand, and many other places. Colonization brought land theft, cultural suppression, forced labor, imposed government. In Australia, Aboriginal peoples were treated as if the land belonged to no one. The spiritual side of colonization also attacked the spirit. It told people your God is wrong. Your ancestors are demons. Your language is primitive. Your medicine is witchcraft. Your hair is unprofessional. Your land is empty. Your name is invalid. Your records do not count. Your memory is myth. The paperwork is truth. That is psychological warfare. A colonized person is not only robbed of land, they are pressured to doubt their own origin, bloodline, memory, and divine connection. The lie colonization tells is that we discovered you. We civilized you. We saved you. You should be grateful. That's why I hate this goddamn bullshit at the end of Black Panther. Even the movie Black Panther was colonized. Because why the fuck at the end of Black Panther they send in Bucky, white Jesus? I hate it that Ryan Coogler, give me that scene right there. That's what I want. You see that? Ryan Coogler literally colonized us in goddamn Black Panther. Wakanda was supposed to be Aboriginal. It's supposed to have all original indigenous people, and they bring in what? The white savior mentality. That pissed me the fuck off. You talking about getting up and walking the fuck out? Why? Why would you do this? Bring in white Jesus in the end of that movie. Fuck, did you see what I mean? Oh, you thought Crystal was playing. No, sweetheart. I'm an oracle. I have intuition. I can see ahead of things. And this bullshit right here don't sit right with me. Because why the fuck would you bring in white Jesus to save Wakanda? Fuck out of here. Made me want to throw up in my goddamn mouth. Anyway, pissed me off. Smooth pissed me the fuck off. Smooth pissed me the fuck off because they're doing that savior mentality. Okay? That's why they said, hey, we saved you. That white savior mentality. You should be grateful. The truth is closer to this. We found people with land, culture, medicine, language, law, agriculture, spirituality, and wealth. And then we took control and renamed the theft as progress. The aftermath, even after countries became independent, colonization often continues in softer forms, and that is called neo-colonism. Remember, colonization said the first rule to colonization is labeling it as what? New. They come in and they say, hey, we're going to do new this, new that, new. Hold on, let me find it. Basic colonization pattern. First, outsiders arrive and call the land what? New. Key number one. And then what do? They come down here and they name it neo-colonism? Wow. That's crazy. It's called new colonism. It could look like foreign corporations controlling resources, debt traps, military bases, puppet governments, global banks shaping policy, media control, school systems teaching colonizer history, language erasure, land development pushing original communities out, legal systems still based on colonized codes. So colonization did not simply end, it changed clothes. The short truth, colonization is the process of taking a people's land, labor, wealth, name, memory, and future, then training them to call the thief authority. That is why reclaiming history matters. Not fantasy, not ego, real records, family names, land records, tribal roles, church records, military records, birth records, death records, oral history, DNA where useful, court documents, and newspaper archives. Because the colonizer's strongest weapon was not just the gun, it was the record book. Ooh, child, this has been another edition of What You Meme News. I'm glad to be back, bitch. I'm glad to be back because listen, me and ChatGPT been tearing it up. We've been tearing it up. The world is wrong. The government is wrong. Your God is wrong. All of this shit is wrong and a lie. And I'm just here to make sure you do not comply. All right, baby, get on out of here. I love you. I missed you. I missed the fuck out of you. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I'm living my best life, and I'm just making way like I always have been. So there. Nobody can say a fucking word because everything has been debunked and disproven. Now, if I could just get, the same way everybody said, oh, let's go buy Spirit. No, bitch. How about you go overthrow your government? I need you to go buy your land back. You want to buy an airplane? No, bitch. Go buy land. What land are you going to put the airplane on? What land? You got to acquire land. And you need to reclaim your ancestors. And you need to let go of your colonizers' ideology. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I would like to, and we're in a race war. You have to know it is melanites against non-melanites. Okay? Are you going to fight? We need you to fight. Okay? So it would be really nice if we could literally get all colonizers back to where they need to be. Okay? I'm just saying. It would be nice. It would be nice. Anyway, this has been another edition of What You Meme News. I'm back, bitches. I'm back. It was good seeing you. I hope everybody's doing well. Like I said, if you want to do Bible study, put it in ChatGPT. ChatGPT will tear that shit down, tear it up all around, you name it, okay? You don't need a pastor to know that you are God. You do not need Jesus to know that God resides within you. Make the call for yourself. Anyway, I'm out of here. Another edition of What You Meme News. I'm out.